Okay, I got the normal error message that I got, but um, do you see anything about us being live, Corey?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, we are good. Okay. Well, folks, welcome back to Quantum Leap Live, and we have a special guest back on the show, Smiley Nelson, who is a tax preparer and he does tax resolution with the IRS as well. And we recently had him on, but he's doing some new things with his business, and we've so we wanted to have him back to is a great option for folks to look at for this tax season for their business taxes, individual taxes. But before that, I want to just get to my co-host Cory and I, if you don't mind, just telling us, Cory, what you do and how you know Smiley, or if you want to give a testimonial, you're welcome.
All right. Yeah, I am Cory Knott, and I am co-owner of Takeaway Coaching, and I do collaborative coaching, especially with partners and joint ventures. And how long have I known Smiley? I guess you were in BNI and Oakland in the midday
Mhm.
group for many years. So I would see him there when I visited and was briefly their director. Um, Still am their area director, and glad to have him back in the sphere. I guess after COVID kind of stopped a lot of things going on, and so then people sort of wander back in, which is great. Um, yeah, and all I can say is he has a great presence, and he's a wonderful addition to our chapter. And I know he was a great addition to the other chapter. Just very engaging and far different than what you would expect from maybe a tax professional like a CPA. So good to have that wit and charm.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And he is an excellent presenter, and he's great on video too. So we're happy to have him back. I really say that he's a model business owner in a lot of ways, and a lot of the things we go over on this show about your why and your purpose and how to fold all this into business. And but I did want to get right to you, Smiley. Just tell us about a little bit about your story and what some of the things that are new with your business since we last checked in on the broadcast here.
Well, something that's new is actually a reincarnation. And what does that mean? 27 years ago, I started preparing taxes.
Mhm.
And about 10 years ago, I started focusing on resolution work, which is fixing IRS problems. You haven't filed in many years, or you owe a lot of money. And for 6 years now, I have done very little tax prep because I focus on resolution. And what I've found out is that I'm lonely because you don't have that many clients with resolution. They're big cases and fewer clients, but I don't get to see clients on a regular basis since I sold my yearly tax prep practice. So I've rekindled this year. The hiatus is over of no tax prep. So I'm doing yearly tax preparation now, and I get to see all kinds of people in my office. They come in regularly, and I'm a lot happier than I am. So I'm not so lonely anymore.
No, that's great. It's a life changing experience, and we
Mhm.
have a lot of people in our network who need this service, especially somebody like you. So we're it's just a joy to have you to be able to refer out and to recommend. Um, what services do you provide for this tax season? If you don't mind telling us kind of where we are in the tax season and how you can help people.
Well, there's two basic functions of a tax professional. The third one is criminal. You can work criminal, but you need to be a lawyer. But most professionals in the tax business work either the resolution work that I mentioned, or they do a yearly tax prep. And since I brought the yearly tax prep back, I work with folks who have individual returns. I do any kind of individual return. If you have a business with that, it goes on the Schedule C, is called. Those of you with a self-employed business will know that. So I do individual, and I also do trusts,
Oh,
trust estates,
hmm.
and I do S corps.
Okay.
I don't do C corp work. I have plenty of folks who do that if they're your regular old C corp. and a multi-member LLC. I don't do those. So basic individual tax returns, S corps, and trusts and estates. That's what I work on. And then I also do the resolution work. And for some reason, I don't know, something caught wind in the cosmos or something. I don't know. But I've got a lot more resolution cases since I decided to do the preparation work. So I don't know what's going on there, but I love that work because it brings people back to their life. They've been on a trip somewhere, sometimes for 15, 20 years, and they have really been out of touch with things. And it helps them reclaim their life when you settle that gigantic IRS debt, because that's debilitating to people. So I do resolution work, helping people get out of trouble with the IRS, and I do the yearly prep to keep you from getting in trouble with the IRS.
Excellent. Yeah, it goes hand in hand. I think some of that's an energy thing too, is people taking another look. Oh, I need that too. I need that and that.
Mhm.
Um, that's why I thought it was a very timely time for you to come on. Now, could you tell us a little bit about some upcoming deadlines that small business owners need to be aware of about filing taxes, or maybe some that they may have missed?
Well, with some that one that's important is the banks and brokerage houses. They have until the middle of the month of February, which falls on the 18th this year because of President's Day, or I forget which one it is. So look out for that. And you should have received your W-2s by the end of January. So that's important. If you haven't gotten those, then contact your bank or your employer. And the corporate file returns, the S corps and the C corps and some LLCs, March 15th instead of April 15th. And excuse me, sometimes us tax preparers forget that. Client has a S corp return, you got to have it in March 15th, not April 15th. Otherwise, it's late and you pay penalties. So that's something to really watch out for. Then I suppose there's that date in April sometime that most people don't know about, April 15th. Oh yeah, when taxes are due. So that's, needless to say, an important part as well.
And can you help with extensions if people um, don't get their stuff done by the deadline? Can you help get them taken care of too? Or
Yes, absolutely. And there's an absolutely important thing about extensions that is misunderstood often. Excuse me. And that is, an extension is an extension to file. It is not an extension to pay. A lot of people think, oh, I'll just pay it later. Well, if you've got a balance due on April 15th and you file an extension, fine. You don't have to file your return. You won't get a late filing penalty.
Mm.
But if you got a balance due on that return that you're filing later on in the year, the interest and the penalties start from April 15th until you pay it. Even if you don't get the late filing penalty again, because you filed an extension, you're still going to have penalties and interest if you had a balance due. So people who I tell folks that if I file an extension, I've got to do some kind of a rough draft of what you might owe, pay that, and then file your extension. But if you come to my office too late in the season, I won't even be able to do the rough draft to be able to come up with a guess of what your liability might be. We'll just file the extension and you'll have to send in some kind of money or pay the penalties and the interest when it's due. So it's an extension to file, not to pay.
okay, great. I know folks still have plenty of time for most of those deadlines right now. And that's why we
Well, I want to just put a little wink in on that one. No, do it now. Don't take the time.
yeah, it comes up quick and there is work to be done. I'm going to hand it over to Cory for some more questions here.
Sure.
Thank-
So, what are some mistakes that individuals and small business owners often make with regard to their taxes, and how do you help?
You know, I could go on and on with the list of things you need to do,
Pick
but
one.
they all fail. Every single item on that list of what you need to do as a business owner has absolutely no significance. I'm exaggerating and I'm really making a point here, but nothing on that list of what you need to do to be a business owner is as important as keeping track of what money comes in and what money goes out.
Right.
That is the death or the heartbeat of the business. It's real simple. You
Yeah.
absolutely have to do it. Okay, there's no absolutes in life. That's true. Someone might be able to just make a ton of money and just don't spend hardly any money, but you're still not going to know where the money goes and what happens. If you do this certain thing, will it affect your profit? But I get the train wrecks. I get the folks who have not filed for quite a few years, sometimes 10 or 20 years, and they don't have their books in order. And the reason it all fell apart, there's mostly emotional reason. People get in trouble with the IRS usually because some big event happened in their life and it's snowballed, and the IRS problem is one of the problems. So that's definitely in place. But the reason the nuts and bolts, most important thing like this question addresses is they didn't keep track of their money that came in or that went out.
Uh,
And I was at church one time, we were talking about the difficulties of the money at church. And we were in a circle, about 12 of us, and Barry gets up and he goes, here's how I'd like to contribute to let you know what I think about our money problems. He pulls out this paper bag and he reaches into the bag and he pulls out a receipt and he gives it to the first person, goes to the next person, pulls out, gives them the receipt, goes all the way around the room and gives each one of these people a receipt. And he says, it's as simple as that. You have to take the receipts, write them in somewhere, knowing where your money went. So again, I can list all kinds of things, Cory, but
yeah.
please get a bookkeeper, please, or do it yourself.
Right. No, make sure you keep all those receipts as well too.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Because if you're audited, they'll help you. Next item, no change.
Yeah. Oh, scanning is good, and I just remember back many years ago, I would just gave my CPA like a box of receipts, and that he enjoyed that, right? But at least it was all there, you know. So, um, yeah. Back in the very early.
The proverbial box of receipts.
Right. Which really, you guys are too busy for that these days. But back
Yes.
then, it was a little easier. Or you can find a bookkeeper. But all right. So what is your why? Why do you do this? Feel.
I have a purpose in life. It is to give to and be kind to all living things and help them enjoy their life. And there's no more fitting place to me than, again, that gigantic IRS elephant on someone's back. It's the most fabulous. Well, there's only one thing more fabulous than seeing it in the client's face when we settle all these things. And just an aside here, that the most beautiful thing is when you tell a kid, you're a neat person and I like you. That brings out the most beautiful facial expressions and genuine expression of things. But the second best is to have a client look me square in the eyes. One of my favorite things that's happened to me in my business was a client, he didn't file for 14 years. We filed 14 years of tax returns, set up an installment payment, and he was able to get a new house and a new truck. Of course, he had to pay all the money back, but he got it organized. He did his books. After it was all set up, he came into the office and he looked me square in the eyes and he said, Smiley, I now feel like I'm a member of the human race. That's why I do this. Because obviously I was able to give to him and help him enjoy his life. So I'm in this work to help me live my life purpose.
So then, who is your ideal client?
Let me be a bit humorous and also serious at the same time. Someone who's about to get married and their spouse is nagging them. It is perfect. Absolutely perfect, because people who have been married for a lot of years, they've been through this problem and, they've been working through it together. And the main motivation for me, for that I like to see in clients is that they really want to make a change, because sometimes, like I said, it's 10, 15, 20 years. Who am I? They've ignored the IRS for all those years. And who am I to ask them for this documentation they need to clear it? up the problem. So the most difficult part of my work is getting documents from clients to be able to fix their problem and for them to be motivated to get the docs to fix their problem. So if someone's about to be engaged and they say, oh, I got to fix this before we get married, my spouse to be is, saying this, that's the kind of person I want. Of course, I can't pick and choose. Mostly, Cory, and I'll be a little bit more serious, but that is serious. I really love those clients. But someone who is going to make the change, period, is for some reason going to make the change. That's who I want as a client. And I'm trying to screen that out as best I can because I've taken $2,500 to do an analysis to figure out what the problem is. And then I keep after them, and the IRS is ready to pull money out of their account. And I can't do that on my watch. I will not be representing someone when the IRS wants to pull something else money out because the client is refusing to give me docs. And I've had to pull my power of attorney. I just defaulted, and I feel badly about that because I don't refund the $2,500. I've already done a whole lot of work. Someone who's properly motivated. There's your answer.
Great. Well, I always say if you do your job good on this show, we end usually about 5 or 10 minutes early, and I think that's where we're at today. So I did want to encourage folks, if you're in the trades or some other industry, if you haven't filed for a few years, that's fine. You came to the right place. Smiley can help you. I'm not saying it'll necessarily be easy, but he'll make it as easy as it can be.
Yeah.
And also, if you're a business owner looking to file this year, individual, you need tax help, get in touch with Smiley. We'll put his contact links in the comments, and we'll look forward to having you back at some point, and also putting out some more video content from you, Smiley.
Great. Thank you, David. Thank you, Cory.
Thank you, Smiley. Good to see
Nice
you.
chatting with you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining us on Quantum Leap.